Calling yourself.
I will invite him one more time, okay?
That's weird that it says you made the hangout public.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's visible on the screen.
Is it?
Okay, I just invited Kai again. There he is. Hey, Kai, what's up?
Oh, sorry about that. There's some technical issues. I'm a bit of a Google noob, so it didn't work out too well. But I'm here now. I've got my Google Android doll.
Cool. Okay, who else we got here? Eric Chang, how are you?
Yes. Good. How are you?
Good. How is Milan, you bastard?
I am in Milan, and it is 4 a.m. here.
Oh, thank you for
So now you should feel sorry for me.
We do, a little bit.
Who are we missing?
Nobody.
Dave, is everyone here?
I think so.
Good. Well, you start the little countdown timer, Dave.
Yeah, let me just check my spreadsheet real quick. What does parse-2 mean? I tried to look it up. I can't find the word.
He was
oh, it's a name.
assistant to Phineas Fogg in 80 Days Around the World.
Aha.
Yeah. I know, sort of an arcane reference.
Okay, so we got Eric, Kai, Keith, Gordon, Tony, me, you. That's it. Okay.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Can anyone hear my audio?
So this is still a little pre-show. We'll officially start soon. Do you have the little timer thing?
Yeah, I'm going to get it going. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're fine. Fine. So here's the order of operations, you guys. This is sort of the Sony NEX-7 review show. I've set it up so that I'm the noob with this thing. You guys really know much more about it, but I'll talk a little bit about it, and it's really kind of a free-for-all. It's you know,
Right.
Don't wait for me to pass the talking pillow around. If you have something you want to say, or a question, or a rebuttal, or an argument, or a song and dance you want to throw in, just jump in, okay? Sound good?
Hey, so Kai, I know
Sounds
you
great.
can't. I know you can't stay the whole time. Do you know how long you can stay, and then we'll.
I don't know. I think I'll try and stay for over an hour. But yeah,
Oh, cool.
I think I'll try and stay for as long as possible.
So what
Great.
happens? So if you want, when you do have to leave, there's a little chat button on the top left of the Hangout
Okay.
itself, and that's only for us in here to see. So if you can just write it in there, and either Trey or I'll see it, and I'll interrupt Trey or whatever, and just say, I know Kai's got to get going. And
How long is this supposed to run?
You never know, Eric.
Okay.
Although I will try to keep it to an hour and a half because we're here at Google and we're kind of using their offices, and I don't want to keep them too late.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, do you see that I've shared this publicly?
Just the video.
Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to share this with your friends, followers, and family or whatever, you can now go share my live Hangout post. That's just
Share the public
Yeah.
one, the one that says Hangouts on Air. Don't share the actual Hangout invitation.
That would be bad.
Someone has a bit of background sound going on, like sounds like a robot dinosaur finding food.
Could be. Oh, I've got a robot dinosaur in the background, so that must be it.
No problem. Okay,
So-
2 minutes till showtime.
Okay.
Hey Kai, if you want to, there's a mute, and you can mute the mic for when you're not talking.
Can
the
any
top
audio?
right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I got your audio, Gordon. Good.
See that?
I've got a bit of a dodgy connection here, it transpires.
Hey Gordon, did you set the the slow connection thing in the settings of the
I
Hangout?
may try a different location.
Okay.
So can you guys see this app I just added in to the left side? It's called the Comment Tracker. It's a new thing in
Yeah.
Hangouts.
Yeah,
No,
something
we'd
like that.
have to. We'd have to have the app installed,
Okay.
and I don't.
I don't know.
Ah. So it's live on my stuck computer. Yeah. Okay. Hey Dave, can you tell who the background noise is coming from?
I think it's coming from Kai.
Me?
Yes.
You have people talking nearby. And,
No, nobody. I've
Oh.
got my earphones in.
Just
It's
look at
better
the little
now.
green bars.
yeah. I'll pay more attention and see if I can figure
Is it
out.
worse again?
No, you're good now, Gordon.
You're good.
Oh, oh no.
It was good. All
Perfect,
right.
Gordon. That's great. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So, by the way, in the beginning, we'll run through and everyone can introduce themselves, and you can plug whatever you want to plug, and you know, plug Lytro, plug Digital Rev, plug Vidcast Network. Don't be shy, okay? So, go for it. It'll be great. Okay, 10 seconds. Thank you for taking my minutes. I don't know when to get people to.
And action.
Hello, everybody. My name is Trey. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a great show. We are coming to you live from the Google headquarters. I'm here with several nice Googlers, and I'll give you a little tour around here in a minute. But tonight is the unofficial Sony NEX-7 review show. We've never done one of these. We usually don't do hardware-y type stuff, but I bought this camera about 2 weeks ago, and I've been using the heck out of it. I just wrote a little review. I write weird reviews. If you want to get really good reviews, go look at Gordon Lang's cameralabs.com or Kai's Digital Rev site. We have all these people here, really smart people. I set this up so I'm the dumbest person with this camera. I can ask lots of dumb questions, and they will placate me in their answers. So thank you in advance. Let's jump around and give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. We'll start with, how about you, Eric Chang from Lytro? You're in Milan right now, aren't you? Milan, Italy.
Yes, I flew into Milan tonight, and it's 4 a.m. here, and I really wanted to join you guys, so I'm here. I am director of photography at Lytro. I know we're doing a Sony Hangout, which is great because I also have a Sony NEX-7, which I love, and I also am an underwater photographer, so I'm excited to get this camera in the water as well.
Cool. Thank you for joining us all the way from Italy. You should be asleep, but thank you. And how about you, Keith Barrett? You are also a proud new owner of a Sony NEX-7.
I am. Technically, it's besides my phone, it's my first digital still camera, too.
Cool. Okay, well, tell us about you and what you do and that sort of thing.
I'm Keith Barrett. I'm a computer tech guy for Walt Disney World, and I live stream Hangouts, Google Plus Hangouts, on the vidcastnetwork.com. You can find me there. You can find me on pluskeith.me or Google Plus, or just search the interwebs. I'm everywhere.
Cool. Now, let me introduce Kai Wong. Kai is awesome. Most of
Thank you.
Most everybody probably knows him, but maybe this will be a nice discovery for those of you that don't. Anyway, tell us all about you, Kai.
Oh, there's not much to tell about me. Well, I just present the Digital Web TV show, co-produce it and write it, and sometimes mess about and then make a video about it and post on YouTube. So youtube.com, digitalwebcom, go there, subscribe. Brilliant stuff.
It is. It's one of the few channels that I subscribe to, so I really recommend it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I don't own an NEX, by the way. NEX-7, any of them. Sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
And, hey, Dave, what's up with you?
Not much. I'm Dave Effer. You can find my profile at plusdave.com, and I don't really feel like putting anything else.
All right. Cool. Gordon is. I'm down in Mountain View, California. He's about 2 hours north of me, or an hour north of me in San Francisco. Normally he's in New Zealand, but he's on a family vacation and working hard to find Wi-Fi to join us. We're just making introductions, so tell us all about you, Gordon.
Hi Trey, thanks for having me. Just wave manically if you can't hear or see me properly. I'm actually up in Napa at the moment, and it's a beautiful place to be, but I can't get that internet connection, so I've gone into the hotel lobby, so people will check in and out while I'm talking. Do not be alarmed. So thanks for having me.
All right, thank you very much. And your website, which you did not plug, did you? That was strange. Usually you work 7 plugs into your intro. So you're just...
I know. Well, you can tell I'm on vacation. My website is cameralabs.com. I review digital cameras, lenses, and accessories, so check them out. I think between myself and Kai, you'll get all the information you need about cameras.
Good. Excellent. And Tony Wang, hello.
Hi. I'm Tony Wang. I'm a producer here at Twit, and I also produce, one of the shows I produce is Twit Photo, and I just want to plug our guest tomorrow. We have Joel Grimes. He's a sports photographer. So check out the I want to say I'm a fan of mine.
Cool. And Tony, if I'm not mistaken, you have NEX-7 Lust, right?
Yeah, I have a little GF3 here with a void render. So that I got from Digital Rev.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at that.
So, yeah, I love this lens.
And that wasn't me plugging it there.
Yeah.
So let me just read to you this comment that I got, just to show you the kind of response my little review is getting. Okay, and then we'll get into it. This is from Eriki Juris. He says, what does he say? Okay, he says, anyway, based on the blog post, did you actually read the manual of the camera plus Trey Ratcliffe? And then he goes on to tear apart my review piece by piece, which is fine. Actually, you know, and the answer is no, I did not read the manual, because I put myself in the sort of the common man's shoes, and no one has time to read these manuals. I just get it and use it, and I write very practical reviews. And actually, if you want really good specs and all that kind of stuff, cameralabs.com has a great review full of specs, and so does Digital Rev. I just treat this stuff like you know, I just try to figure it out, and I enjoy the process of figuring it out. So there's lots of inconsistencies in my review, and we'll get to the bottom of those tonight. Let me introduce everyone here in the room. I don't want to be rude, and then I'll take you on a little tour of the Google HQ, because you might find it interesting. We've got neat stuff around. Let's start by rotating this direction to Vincent. Hello, Vincent.
Hello. I'm Vincent Moe. I am an engineer and also a manager on the Google Plus Photos team.
Thank you, Vincent. And then across the table.
How are you doing? I'm Ricardo Lagos, and I am an engineer with the Google Plus Photos team.
Thank you. That was dynamic and interesting.
Hey everyone, I'm Cliff Rediker. I manage the Talks at Google program, which makes me a bit of a Google impresario. Google.com/talks. We have Dale Chihuly coming up on Monday. We'll do a live stream from our YouTube channel, so check us out.
Very cool. Okay, let me show you a little tour here. People might find this interesting. Let me look out the window here. Over here, we're right now inside the famous Building 43, and we're looking out across the courtyard at Google. See all those friendly primary colored umbrellas? Doesn't that make you feel nice about the world and Google? Now, Vincent, lead us to the spaceship.
All right. Take you there. Take me to your leader.
Okay, we're going to the spaceship. They've made it clear that I should not point the camera in certain directions. So I will not point the camera in those directions. There's a little mini snack bar.
Oh, actually, maybe we should show. a little piece of trivia here. This is the one place in Google where you will ever pay for food. You know, people might be interested in that. It's a little vending machine where everything is priced according to how healthy or unhealthy it is for you.
Wow, you have to pay here.
It's the one place where you have to pay. It's
You have
weird.
to pay more if it's unhealthy.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember or not, but I was in here one time with Lisa Bettany, and she just cleaned out this mini kitchen. She just started filling up her purse with all this stuff.
We're still recovering.
I'm serious. Okay, let's go forward. We're following Vincent and Cliff to the spaceship.
It's a little Blair Witchy, huh?
Yeah, it is quite Blair Witchy. Sorry.
As long as you're not standing in the corner.
We were going to be in this one room right here to the right.
Oh, did we lose him?
I think so, yeah.
Those kind of people.
No, he's there.
Oh.
So here is the spaceship. I hope you guys can see it okay. Who knows the most about the spaceship that can give us a tour? Can you do it? Cliff?
Yeah, basically this was a gift from Richard Branson and Burt Rutan. It's a prototype of the Virgin spacecraft, first commercial-powered spacecraft to enter orbit. And apparently we had to tear down several walls to get it to come in and hang here.
Tell us more. Tell us about the X Prize.
Yeah, and we got all sorts of things going on here too. Like not only did the X Prize, give money to the first commercial spacecraft, but we have some other Google toys on display. So over behind us here, we have a list of live changes happening to Google Maps right now. We have our Liquid Galaxy, which is a 3D representation of Google Earth that we open sourced. And we also have larger-than-life Nexuses and Google TVs.
Wait, show us how this works. This sounds cool.
Yeah, so these are actually live changes happening on Google Maps right now through our tool called MapMaker. So anyone can make any changes they want to our map service, and together partnering with users, we've increased our penetration of the world's maps and place information to about 40% from about 30%. So those are people making changes right now.
Pretty cool. I've never seen that before.
That's kind of nice.
Anything else you want to show us while we're on a little tour?
Well, we can head back here. Google is Googlers are always big fans of Burning Man. So we have one photographer who takes a series of pictures from Burning Man, and the retrospective is listed here. So you can kind of pan to the shots on the wall. And
what's his name?
His name is Valdemar Horvat. And so he goes every year, as do many Googlers.
Is he on Google Plus?
I believe so. I'm not 100%.
Isn't it required that everyone at Google be on Google Plus?
That's a good point. I don't know if he needs to get on that. And then we have cafes here on campus serving anything from Japanese food to an equivalent of In-N-Out or Steak and Shake, so it's pretty nice. And then the line between work and play is very blurred, so you see we have a pool table right in the middle of a working space. And that really brings us to our tour of Google, so we'll continue.
Okay. All right, let me set this up. And we're back. So one thing that I got knocked on in my horrible review, and let's keep it clear that I'm not really a camera reviewer, I'm just a guy. But one thing that I was complaining about is, well, I shouldn't start with the negative. First, I should say that I love the camera. I think it's wonderful. It almost completes me. I think this is the first big step on the train to, mirrorless cameras. And I think in another year or so that, I mean, it's just wonderful. It's really, really exciting technology. So I shouldn't really get to talk about the negative too much, although I will because people want to hear about that. So, Sergey, hello, you just joined us.
Hi, Trey. Good to be here. I'm just on here very, very briefly, so I hope you don't think me rude. I just have a meeting I have to get to shortly. But when you told me you were talking about the NEX-7, which I recently got, I stuck this big lens on it. That's the 18-200. But it's actually altogether pretty, compact compared to lugging around an SLR. the big lens that's so wide-ranging. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I've used it mostly like in daylight conditions, so you know, I'm sure it's not going to be as good noise-wise as a full-frame sensor or something like that. But I've been really, really happy with it. And yeah, I agree with you. Compared to the kind of clunkiness of the whole lens mechanism, this is really nice. The viewfinder is pretty nice, the electronic one. I wish it would just turn on a little bit faster when I bring my eye to it, but I've been really pleased.
What do you also had the NEX-5, right? What do you like better about this one?
No, I don't have the NEX-5.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, sorry.
Well, as far as I can tell, this is the best EVF system that I've ever seen. Today, someone here at Google, I think it was Chris Chabot, he had the Fuji X100 that also has an EVF, but this one is definitely better, I think.
Yeah, I also, the other one you might be thinking of, I had the A77, which is what compelled me to get the NEX-7 because it's pretty much the same thing, only actually more light throughput and like half the size.
What lenses do you have?
I just got the kit lens and then I bought the big one.
Okay.
You know, look, it's obviously not going to be the most, I'm not going to like print something 8 feet across with this anyway. So I wanted something versatile that I could just have one package and go around. And actually the 18-200 is really nice because I can get really nice like kids shots, portraits with the 200 when you zoom in. It's really, really nice. I guess it's more like a 300, like 35 mil equivalent or something. It's, you know, it's a nice zoom on there. Here it gets really big. Not that size is everything.
We're sure you know how to use it, I'm sure. So you mentioned low light, and that's something I got knocked on. Some people are saying that this camera is actually extraordinarily great in low light.
You know, they might be right. I haven't even tried, to be honest. I mean, the A77 was certainly weaker than like a 5D Mark II or Mark III that somebody finally convinced me to get, even though I was disappointed in the specs, which actually I've been pretty pleased with too. Yeah, I should play with it more. I mean, I haven't avoided using it in low light particularly. It's just, you know, such a light camera. It's like when I'm going out and about, that's what I grab, which is more sort of daylight situations.
Hey, Kai Wong, have you played with this camera much at night? What's your reaction to it?
Well, all this talk about, you know, oh, it performs so well in the low light, it's just kind of almost meaningless. I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to shoot inside a cardboard box? Because I think most cameras these days can shoot quite well in low light. So I think it's all kind of relative. I think there are some cameras now that do an extraordinary job, like the X Pro 1. I think that's much better than the NEX-7. NEX-7 is pretty good, but I think there are better cameras for low light performance.
I took, this is Eric here, I took the NEX-5N to Alaska to shoot Aurora Borealis, and that was a good test for low light. And actually, you know, when I compare the shots to what I shot with my 5D Mark II, at any kind of normal screen resolution, kind of 30-inch screen resolution, I can't actually tell which camera it came from.
Wow. Mm. Yeah, I think the 5D Mark II probably isn't the best example of a good camera for
that's right.
But yeah, I mean for APS-C sensor, that's pretty good.
I mean, I think of the 5N as basically a Nikon D7000 in a tiny little body, and the NEX-7, you know, has more pixels and is more noisy, but if viewed at the same resolution, is very close, if not, you know, the same.
Gordon, what have you found in your testing?
Well, it's interesting, that point about viewing things at the same size.
By the way, you look like you're in a car now.
Yeah.
I like the pose as well.
Yeah, do you like that? It's my kind of laid-back vacation pose, yeah. Well, I couldn't get, it was so noisy in reception. I was by the swimming pool earlier, I was in my room, I've tried everywhere. I've moved around so many different locations. So far, it's inside the car. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi is penetrating the walls. which is either very good or very bad. Anyway, I recently published some comparisons between the Nikon D800 and the Canon 5D Mark III, and of course all the Canon people go, oh yeah, Canon for the win, and all the Nikon people go, you completely blew it, you did it wrong because you didn't downsample the D800 images. And when you're a tester, and you're a bit of a pixel peeper tester, then you've got to think, well, are you going to compare the images when viewed at 1:1, in which case you're going to penalize higher resolution bodies like the D800, or are you going to downsample it to say 20 megapixels so the resolution's the same as the Mark III, in which case you could say, hey, the noise levels are suddenly better on the D800, but hang on, where's all my resolution gone? So there's sort of different ways you can measure things, and you can really get any result you want, and you can get any. You can read them any way you want. Like I published these 2 sets of results that basically showed the Mark III doing brilliantly at high ISOs, but the D800 doing brilliantly on detail. And everyone ignored the D800. I got all this massive response from all the Canon followers going, Canon for the win, Canon's the best image quality. And I kept going back saying, yeah, it looks great, but come on, guys, look at the D800. Look at the detail on that. I've not seen detail like that apart from on a medium format. I mean, this is incredible. And they were like, whatever. Let's have a look at that high ISO stuff. And, people have already made their mind up before they've even read your review. They've decided what they want to kind of decide from it. I mean, as Kai said, it depends what you're taking pictures of, and ultimately all these cameras are producing pretty amazing results. For me, the most important thing is getting the right lenses for the system. And although I love the quality and the handling of the NEX-7, for me, it's the lack of native E-mount lenses that lets down the system, which is why on this trip I've decided to take a Panasonic GX1 because Micro Four Thirds is really established for lenses now. I wanted a small body with a decent lens selection, so I've got the 7-14, which is a great ultra-wide zoom, the 45 2.8 macro, and the 25 1.4, which is a kind of general purpose. And these 3 lenses just are really, really nice. And until that selection becomes available, I mean, yeah, I know you can mount anything with an adapter on the NEX, but I want native lenses, and there's just not that many of them yet. That Carl Zeiss 24 is really nice, though.
It's massive, though.
Yes, it's huge. It's huge. It does transform it. But it is a really nice combination. I was shooting with that the other day in Queenstown, and it is nice, but Kai's right. It's suddenly not that compact anymore.
It's still tiny compared to an SLR lens, though.
Hey, Trey, I'm just going to say goodbye real quick. I have to run. But I'll leave you just with one thought, which is with these high-res cameras, this is at 24 megapixels now, and the D800, which I've also ordered, the E version, which I'm pretty excited to receive. I found that printing on aluminum to be really magical. Like there's this website I went to, and it sounds like I'm advertising them, but all I am is customers, Image Wizards.
Yeah, that's what I use.
I
use Image Wizards.
Oh, cool.
I use them as well.
You get those high-res, nice high-res images, and this, like in daylight, produces really sharp high-res images because you have tons of light. And those look so beautiful. I've just been amazed at the kind of quality you can get. Anyway, I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much. I hope to catch up later, and I'll watch this once it's recorded.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, Sergey. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, Sergey.
Okay,
So,
now that he's
Eric,
gone, we can all relax again.
Especially us.
Eric, did I see you had the 24 lens there? Is that the 24 1.5?
I do. This is it. Look how tiny this is. I wish you.
That's the 16.
No,
that's
the
16. I'm sorry.
Here's the 24.
This is the one you want.
Oh.
It's really sharp. I've been pleased with it, and it's actually the primary lens I use on it, although I do have that 16 as well, because sometimes you just need to go wider. So I used to have the Fuji X100, which has a 23 millimeter lens, and I was just amazed at how thin that thing is compared to this, which is suddenly something that you have to put in a bag. This does not fit in a coat pocket, and if it does, you look like you're a pervert or something. And, and then you have this
lens in your pocket, or you just
and then you have this hood on, which I love to use as well, and suddenly it's a pretty big lens, but it's really sharp. So that's
and
good.
Eric, the surprising thing about that lens is just how close it can focus. You can do some decent macro stuff with it, even though it's quite wide. It's really good for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey Kai, what's your favorite thing about this Sony? What's going on?
my whole room's falling apart. The favourite thing is the size. I mean, APS-C's sensor in such a tiny body is just completely crazy to have such a big sensor in a tiny body. The whole NEX system is really quite slim. But the thing is, their lenses aren't that slim. That's the problem. I mean, it should be an optical camera, but it's not. And that's kind of the pros and the cons all in one there. It's slim, but it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, I like using it. It's quite a slick little camera to have. I mean, you don't always want to take a DSLR with you. I think this has got good enough performance. There's some slight issues that I have with it. I don't like the dials on the top, which they don't have any markings, and sometimes you can forget which one does what. And then because when you change the modes, they change. They're not, you know, they're kind of like soft dials. They change depending on the mode, which is a bit annoying because you have to kind of remember it, and I don't have a good memory, so.
Well, my dad has this saying that he doesn't have he has a really good memory, but it just doesn't last very long. So so I don't know if people can see this or not, but it's kind of got this cool on-screen slider here, so you can see where to go. And I'm doing something with this camera that's kind of embarrassing, frankly, but I want to see if anyone else is doing this. So I'm, you know, whatever, Mr. Camera Expert, and, you know, I like to go into aperture priority mode a lot, and I'm very comfortable there. But actually, since I've been using this for the past few weeks, for the most recent week, I've just kind of kept it on intelligent auto, you know? And it's really pretty quick because I go from indoor to outdoor. Sometimes there's moving things, sometimes there's still things, and you know, it's incredibly quick. It usually chooses the right situation. It usually chooses the right aperture and the right ISO, and it's just really, really smart. And I wondered, am I the only one that's keeping it intelligent auto at least a big part of the time?
No, well, I have.
I have as well.
I think the sooner that any photographer can get over themselves and actually just realize that it's not a mortal sin to use automatic, then the sooner they can start enjoying themselves and taking photos and getting off the forums and complaining about everyone else using auto. You know,
yeah,
it's okay.
Getting a shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about getting the shot, and I mean, sometimes people will say, "Oh, you're in P mode. You should be using M mode if you're professional." But it's about getting the shot, and if it helps you to get the shot quicker, then so be it.
Well, I'm glad.
And
I'm
they
glad
do
to hear
speak
you
like
say
that. They do speak
because
with that accent as well.
now I find I can really just focus on composing a shot, getting the camera in a good position very, very quickly, because it does take a while to make you know, adjustments if you're in any other mode, and really it gets the shot super quick. So I don't think that there should be any shame if you are like an experienced photographer and you try one of these cameras as sort of your quick runaround camera, you keep it on auto. I mean, look, these Japanese guys are smart. They know, you know, it knows. In fact, it's quite, you could figure out with an algorithm, according to the available light in the situation, what the mode should be and what the ISO should be and the aperture. You know, humans, we're not that smart. These things are pretty smart. So, you know, there's no shame in letting it do some of the work while we have the fun.
So what's the difference between intelligent auto and P?
Good question. Kai, what is the difference between intelligent auto and P?
Intelligent auto is clever.
Okay, question now goes to you, Gordon. What is the difference between intelligent auto and P?
All right, I'll give you the real answer. The real answer is they're both fully automatic, except program lets you change things. So intelligent auto lets you change nothing. It switches everything off, so you can't change anything normally. It's just completely automatic. Program's also completely automatic, but it lets you change maybe the white balance, exposure compensation, stuff like that. It lets you get your hands a little bit dirty, but ultimately it's still automatic. That's it.
So basically, intelligent auto lets somebody else wipe your bottom. P mode, you still have to kind of get your hands a little bit dirty. Well, you still use toilet paper. But intelligent auto, well, at least you don't have to figure out what those two top dials actually do. You
That's
can
it.
just kind of press
You
the
just
button, and then that's
spin
it.
them as much as you want.
Yeah, just fiddle with it, just for the hell of it, just to get your thumb going.
I like the way that auto has become intelligent auto. It's like, old auto was thick, stupid
Sounds
auto.
better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds better. Intelligent auto.
Where can they go with that, though? I mean, what's it turn into Genius Auto? Or,
Mensa Auto, Genius
Yeah.
Auto,
IQ 190 auto.
Awesome Auto.
Stephen Hawking Auto.
You know, the one thing about intelligent auto that that I've missed is the ability to go past ISO 1600. So I use this camera a lot at night because it's small, so I can carry it without carrying a giant camera bag if I go out. And I like shooting high ISO on this camera, and I feel I get really slow shutter speeds in intelligent auto. So I will.
Well, that's a big problem with a lot of cameras, that when they're set to auto ISO, which they always are when they're in intelligent auto, is that a lot of them have got a maximum operating sensitivity and they just won't go beyond that. Some of them have got menus where you can manually increase it, but there's still a limit. It's never as high as the camera can go if you're in the dirty hands modes. But no, they take that fun away from you.
So, hey Keith, let me talk to you about this, because you would not, I don't think, consider yourself a professional or super experienced photographer. You're actually just now probably actually inspired by hanging out with all these photographers on your various shows. You're inspired to go out and take photos, and you've been wanting to get a new camera, and I know you keep asking me which one to get. You ask a lot of people, and so what's it been like your first few days with this new machine?
Yeah, I'm calling myself a photography enthusiast now, and I figure as soon as I post a photo that gets like 50 likes, I'll call myself an amateur. But so far I like it. I've only had the camera 48 hours, and I'm only able to shoot a couple hours of that. But I'm loving it so far. It's easy to use. It's light. It's small. It fit in all my existing gear because I was a 35mm guy originally. And something that hasn't been talked about yet is it shoots 1080p video at 60 FPS too, and I shoot video. So that's handy for me as well, because I don't have to carry a different camera for that.
So do you find, like sort of as a newbie into this system, that this UI was designed by some Japanese masochists? Or are you able to easily navigate their labyrinthinal depths?
No, I'm having the same problems. I haven't explored this yet, but I understand you can change the programming of the knobs. Is that true?
Yes.
So I figured sooner or later I'll figure out a layout that will work for me, and I'll probably reprogram them.
I have some thoughts on that if you have a minute.
Please.
So I shoot Canon, and I always shoot with the focus on the back button, on the AF on button, and it started by shooting on the star button. And the first thing I did when I got this camera was set it up so that the shutter button does not focus, and that this little AF button right here does all the focusing, and at any time I can then manually override with the lens. And that has been fantastic because I almost never only take one picture, and so I'll focus and then I'll take a bunch of pictures, and I don't have to reacquire after every shot.
Hey, Eric, as long as you're talking here, there's a question from the chat room. So by the way, everyone watching, if you go over to the chat room at live.twit.tv, I'm in there, a lot of other people are in there. And we're also broadcasting live on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/DuncanCustoms, we're all live on there too. And any comments that you put on the Google Plus thread are automatically attached to the video that's going to show up on YouTube later. So anyway, there's a question in the chat room for you, Eric, from EarthDog. He says, I'd like to hear thoughts on the NEX-7's lack of touchscreen, which the NEX-5 does have.
Right, so I actually have not noticed at all. I use the touchscreen on the NEX-5N every once in a while, but everything was redundant. Everything was also accessible through dials or buttons. And so I found the touchscreen on the 5N to be a little laggy. I used it to swipe through pictures and stuff. But since getting the 7, I've found that I haven't even noticed that it doesn't have a touchscreen.
Mm.
My wife has a 5N, and when I've used it, I've actually come to really like focusing using the touchscreen.
And the tracking? Yeah, so one thing the 7 doesn't have is, you can no longer tap to focus and have it track colors, although the tracking sort of gets fooled very easily At least that's what I found when I used it.
That was the one thing that I really liked about the touchscreen. Not really anything else.
So let's talk about the EVF. Okay. So one thing that's kind of neat about this camera is that it's got this kind of view, right, which everyone kind of expects, and it's actually really hard to use that outside. By the way, one cool thing this camera does is this is a screen, and it comes out and it angles around, and that's kind of cool. But what happens is if you put your eye up to this, then the screen changes. There's probably no way this will work, but I'll hook it up to my.
It works.
Oh, it does. It worked. Kind of neat. So, I mean, there's no way you can really get what this looks like, but it's incredibly clear, and it's so preferable to looking at the back of the screen. I love optical viewfinders. That's what I've been using forever on my Nikon system. I also have a D800, and I'm just really used to the optical system. But when you look through this EVF, it's all electronic, right? There's nothing optical about it, but you feel like Luke Skywalker in those binoculars when he's looking at the Imperial droids, and you get this overlay on top. You have all this extra information, like with the horizon and other kind of heuristics data. It's so fun to look through here. I even found myself, this is really weird, but when I was walking around the cruise ship on this Disney thing, I actually walked around for about 5 minutes with it attached to my eye. Like, this is how I was seeing the world. And it was really, really cool. It was bright. It was vibrant. The contrast was great. The movement was very quick. It didn't have that sort of I think you might be used to, like, your parents' camera. Maybe it's like really slow to catch up right here. But it's not like that through this. So what are y'all's thoughts on the EVF? Let's start with you, Gordon. What do you think?
Well, you talked about one of the big benefits of an EVF, which is superimposed graphics. Another benefit, which a lot of people who are really snobby about optical viewfinder should think about, is that the view is normally much bigger. If you're comparing, say, that EVF against an APS-C DSLR, a typical one, not a high-end one, then the view itself is just huge. It's much, much bigger. So, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, take it into a really dark room, and it'll become noisy, and it'll lag. It won't be as quick as an optical viewfinder. There's pros and cons to both, but I think the important thing I'd want to get across is that there are pros to it. Whereas if you go onto forums and talk to optical fanatics, they'll tell you that it's just completely one-sided. It's just OVS all the way, and EVFs suck, and that's not the case.
Kai, do you hear the same kind of thing from the old school photographers, that they're just anti-EVF and they will never give it a chance?
Well, I'm one of those snobs that Gordon talks about. So, I mean, I love optical viewfinders. It's just, for me, it's the only way that I want to kind of frame a shot. But the EVF on the Sony is fantastic. It is the best out there at the minute. I haven't seen any other camera that even comes close to that. So, I mean, the EVF on the Sony is kind of all right to use. I quite like it. I mean, as Gordon says, there's a lot of pros to it, the overlays and stuff like that. And of course, you see the exposure. You can kind of like set the exposure, and you can see in real time what the exposure is going to be like. So yeah, I mean, there are lots of benefits to it, and I can see no problems with it. I mean, if people want to use an EVF, then that's completely fine, but just not for me.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough, Kai. Eric, what do you think?
This is the first EVF that I really like and don't mind using over an optical viewfinder. And also, I'm putting my vote in the EVF camp because only one is getting better. I mean, optical viewfinders have been the same forever, but EVFs are getting better by the year. And so I'll bet if you look out 2 or 3 years, EVFs are going to be really good, and you get depth of field preview, all this overlay information, which they managed to do on the Fuji X100 as well. But I think if this is the first one that seems okay to me, the next one will probably seem really great.
Yeah, I think it's all going in one direction.
I think we'll eventually have EVF built into our Google Glasses.
I'm glad you didn't ask Sergey that we wouldn't have known what to answer. Hey, so if you guys have taken photos with this camera, or maybe its predecessor or something, and want to get them ready to share, we'll do that pretty soon. Gordon, what kind of reaction have you gotten since you wrote your review on CameraLabs.com? What are people saying about this?
Well, about the NEX-7, I mean, there's two camps. There's the people, the kind of traditionalists, I guess, like Kai. Although he's very open-minded, you know, he's a professional reviewer, so he has to be reasonably open-minded. The kind of old school guys still just don't like it. They're very set in their ways. They know what they like and what works for them. And you know, you shouldn't necessarily twist yourself around some new technology simply because it's new. You know, I mean, DSLRs are great because they work well. You know, a Leica M9 is great because it just works well. You don't need to force all this new technology into it if it already does what you want. But if you're a kind of new tech kind of person who likes the latest stuff, it's a really lovely camera. I think, again, a lot of people I've been speaking to about it, the lenses are probably one of the bigger issues. You know, a lack of native E-mount lenses. And Sony keeps sort of leaking or showing roadmaps and saying, hey, look, you know, we've got all these lenses coming. Great, get them in the shops. You know, let us use them. Then you've got them in the system. At the moment, you're just talking about it. A promise is not the same as having the goods on the table. So that's what I'm hearing, really.
There's a
but
comment
people like
here.
The body. I mean, the body. There's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gordon. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I mean, I was just going to say the body itself is fantastic. There's not a lot I'd really complain about on it at all. It's really, I'd just like a whole load of different lenses. You know.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about your own body, and that's why I cut you off. I didn't feel like it's broke.
Yeah, there's no way that you couldn't really improve it. That's where do I go from there?
Are we still talking about the NEX or your body?
So there's a comment here from there's a comment in our chat area from Matthew __. He says it is. Hey Trey, Gordon, Kai, etc. Keith, you're the etc. In case you were all interested, I currently use this camera for paid sports photography with manual focus Nikkor lenses, such as the 300mm f2.8, the 105mm f1.8. It's fantastic, and the 10 FPS is amazing. The FPS is right on. If people, maybe you can just hear. Okay, everyone quiet. Here we go. It's
sexy.
Pretty crazy, isn't it? Look at that. Pretty sweet.
I think we killed someone outside.
Yeah. We might have. Eric, would you ever put like adapters and put other lenses on here, or are you going to wait for native lenses?
Well, I'd love to wait for native lenses. I think if I took this thing underwater, we shoot fisheye a lot, and I know there was some talk about fisheye lenses for this system, which I haven't tried myself. So, you know, if I were to take this underwater, I would probably use some kind of external adapter to, you know, actually the same way they do it, right? They actually already use wide-angle and fisheye adapters on the 16, right? Do you have those, Trey?
No.
So I carry the 16 around, but I also carry the wide-angle adapter, you know, because that's the only way you can get wider right now without using third-party lenses.
Mm.
I'll get it right now.
Yeah. There's another comment here. That people
I'd tell you what, the nice thing about using manual focus lenses.
Go on, Gordon.
The nice thing about using manual focus lenses, if you've been using AF for a very long time, is that they don't focus. I know this sounds a ridiculous thing to say, but they don't. There's none of this slowing down while it searches back and forth or tries to lock on. You just take the picture if it's in focus. If it isn't, who cares? You know, I mean, it's actually quite liberating to shoot with an old manual focus lens. I think it's quite fun. Maybe we should give more of a shot again.
It's the way I did most of my photography for years. Was all manual focus.
With your flash powder, Keith?
No, just a 35mm. There was no autofocus on those film cameras.
Well, one of the things we noticed, I've been using this camera with Ricardo Liberato over the weekend, and we were using all manual lenses because he had all sorts of adapters, and we're shooting with I think it was an 85 millimeter 0.95, and we were using the contrast, the thing that shimmers, when you have it in focus, and we were also zooming in to get the right focus, and then we're shooting away with all these manual lenses. Have you guys been using that a lot to help your focusing, or what do you use to focus when you're using a manual?
Yeah, the focus peaking works really well.
The peaking mode is great, and it sounds like it comes from Beijing as well. But it really helps for manual focusing because it's quite hard on some of these live view cameras where you think it's in focus, and you take a shot, you look back at it, no, it's not in focus. Especially with really kind of shallow depth of field as well. So yeah, the peaking mode is brilliant on the Sony cameras.
I've turned the peaking mode on and have left it on since, and I rely on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of the better features I thought of this camera.
Some people in the chat are asking how this compares to the Fuji X100. I haven't played with the X100. I took a few shots with one just today. I thought the X100 took a better photo. Of course, he had a 1.4 prime lens on it. It was Chris Chabot's. I'll invite him in here in a minute. But one thing, the EVF was not as good. Also, the EVF was flush with the camera back, so you really mashed your nose into the back of this, and it was really uncomfortable. But one thing I didn't notice is that it had this macro mode, and I got up close to this. I got up close to a flower. I'll never forget this. This is one of my new EVF experiences, and it kind of, maybe if you remember the first time you looked through a wide-angle lens, remember that? You think, wow, you can see this with a wide-angle lens. Well, this is my first wild EVF experience, and it was, so he had this 1.4 lens on there. I switched to macro mode. I got up close to this flower, and I focused, and the flower was perfectly in focus, and the background was just this smooth bouquet like I've never seen before, and it was in the EVF. It was really, really shocking. So that's the alpha to omega of my knowledge of these two systems. Maybe, Kai, have you used both of them? What do you think?
Well, the big difference for me is just that the Fuji doesn't focus that well at all, and the EVF is kind of quite atrocious when you compare it to the Sony. It's quite laggy and it's not as detailed. But I took both these cameras actually to a pole dancing club, obviously, and the Fuji X100, when you compare them with the same kind of subject and dancing and stuff like that, the X100 just isn't as good when it comes to autofocusing. It is a lot slower.
Yeah, I found that if you take that X100 into any kind of low light environment, autofocus is going to fail most of the time, and the manual focus coupling between the electronic and the motors is just not there. There's like a, I don't know, 1 second lag. Manual focus is basically useless on the X100. So I loved my X100 and I hated it at the same time because I loved the pictures. I hated the camera part, except how it looks.
So I think the people in the chat actually wanted to know about the X Pro 1, not the X100.
Oh.
Aha. Well, who can speak to that?
I suppose I can. Well, I mean, the X Pro 1, the focus is better, but not. I still think that NEX-7 is better when it comes to autofocusing speeds. And the EVF is still pretty shoddy when compared to the Sony.
Gordon, what do you think?
Everything Kai said.
High five.
Yeah. Hey, something that, I don't know, try this, Trey. Fold the screen up on the back.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Do you like the way that the view? Do you like the way the viewfinder hood covers the top left corner of it?
What do you mean? You looked down on it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you've got it just kind of gets in the way of it, that viewfinder in the back.
You can also like extend it out, like it's all right. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a fudge. It's a fudge.
You're trying to find stuff not to like about this camera, Gordon.
That's my job.
You're like all these people on Google Plus complaining about the white space.
It's the black. It's the black lines. It's the black lines that are the problem on Google Plus now. The black lines on your vertical photos.
Well, hey Eric, do you have any photos or anybody that you'd like to share from this camera?
I'll look for some. My pictures are all jumbled together, so I shoot with all sorts of different cameras, and then I dump them in the same albums. So I'll look at exif data. It's actually hard to tell which camera took what picture, which I think is a really good sign for this camera. Because I'm comparing it to SLRs.
I'll share a few so people have some idea. And look, these are not like great works of art or anything. They're just, this is my walking around camera. Because once you're a photographer, you can't help but take photos of everything. And so these are just like little things that I see as I go through the day. It's not my usual like landscape. Okay, I should stop pre-qualifying. I'm just going to show you. Okay, screen share to my iPhoto. Share selected window. Okay. Here's one. You guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, this is at Disney World. This is the Indiana Jones stunt show. This was taken with a kit lens, and you can see that you can zoom in quite far and get a very clear, nice shot. I was happy with this. So even though I was in the middle of the audience and I was all the way zoomed in, I still had to crop. And since it's a 24 megapixel camera, I was still able to crop, and it's still over 5,000 pixels across. So that's kind of crazy. Here's another shot that I kind of like. This is my daughter, one of my two daughters. She was just kind of running in circles around me in the airport. I think this is the Miami airport, or Orlando. And I was tracking her with the camera, but it was really easy. And this is the kind of thing that you can get with 10 FPS. You just fire and just follow her. And then, there were other ones that were not that were not good, that were kind of out of focus. But when you're shooting 10 frames per second, basically for 5 seconds of running, you get 50 photos. And you can pluck one out of there that's pretty good. Here is another shot. This was taken with one of her littlest pet shops. That's what she calls them. And this is taken with the kit lens. I mean, incredible. I just kind of set the camera on the ground and set the littlest pet shop on the ground and zoomed in a little bit and took it. And I mean, that's right out of the camera. No flash, no nothing. I use Lightroom to crop it and this sort of thing. But I mean, look at that. Kit lens, crazy. Here's another shot with a kit lens at night. These are the teacups at Disney World, and look at the color and the sharpness. It's crazy. These are my kids at the parade. And this woman here, she's yelling at me to get back on the sidewalk. She was not happy. Here's another low light shot. You can see it's extremely low light. The sun isn't even close to out. It's dusky. And
you handheld that one too?
This is all handheld, yeah. And this is, it was noisy, okay? There's no doubt about that. But, I mean, don't we all use Lightroom? And there's noise reduction there, and it makes the noise go away. Let me zoom in here, okay? See, there's a little bit of noise, but who's going to notice that? I mean, only the noise police on the internet will notice, and I don't care about those people. Here's another shot with the kit lens. Just interesting and nice bouquet. Here's a shot, just sort of a casual handheld shot at night. I think the colors are nice, the contrast is nice. This one is an HDR. This camera does take bracketed photos, but it only goes from minus 0.7 to plus 0.7. I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but I felt like I was still able to get a pretty good HDR out of it. But I'm really not using this camera much for HDR. I mostly still use my D800 for that. So anyway, there's a few sample photos for you guys. Did you find something to share, Eric?
I found some kind of happy snappy shots from the EG conference that I can show.
Okay.
Here we go.
By the way, that's where I ran into Eric at our photo walk he handed out about 14 Lytros to the crowd to play with, and he was using the Lytro in one hand and his Sony NEX-7 in the other hand. And so,
that's right, I was. Can you see this?
Yep.
Yes.
So these are shots from the audience, and it was, well, if it loads, it was pretty dark in the audience, and it was great to just have this little camera that I could use the EVF, of course, so I didn't annoy people all around me. You know, it's pretty clean, and actually I have a shot of you, Trey, here with Mr. Brian Lamb. Oh, actually, I think I might have missed focus on this one. But these are super dark, also. Here's a good shot. This is shot at ISO 1600. Let's see, 1600, 1/160th of a second at f2.2. And this is with that 24mm lens, and it is super sharp. And yeah, there's some noise, but it doesn't bother me. You know, actually, noise in shots these days doesn't bother me that much. It's mostly monochromatic, and as you stated, we can get rid of it really easily in Lightroom.
People in the chat room want to know about the limited HDR functionality of the camera.
Kai, do you have any knowledge of that?
Well, I don't like shooting HDR, so it doesn't really bother me about the limited HDR function.
Gordon, did you use the limited HDR much? Over.
Oh, hello.
I think that's a feature, actually, to limit the HDR capabilities.
Yeah. Oh, his
he's gone.
connection's dropping out there a little bit. It's too bad. Well, Kai, tell us what is coming up next on Digital Rev. What do you have coming up for your legions of fans?
We don't have anything. We're going on a break. We're just gonna go on holiday now. Even though I've just come back from holiday, we're gonna go on holiday again. Now we got some more reviews on. We've just done loads of D4, D800, 5D Mark III. So we're gonna do something a little bit different this week because we've just basically done all the possibilities we can with those cameras. So something a little bit different this week. That's all I can say.
Cool. How often do you put out your videos?
3 a week.
Whoa.
Yeah, 3 kind of like 10-minute videos every week. So it's quite a lot of work actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we get up to, and basically it's just passing about, isn't it? Oh, sorry, can I say that? I just did.
Hey Gordon, were you going to show us something, or is your screen sharing failing?
Yeah, I think I saw you deliberately throw me off the chat, didn't I was say something disparaging about HDR.
Yeah, we have.
It's a feature.
Yeah, we built that. That's something that they built into the Hangout for me. Whenever anyone says bad things about HDR, they're just gone.
I've got a really horrendous internet connection here, but what I'm going to try and do in the background, so talk to someone else, but if by some chance you see a picture of something more interesting than me, which is not difficult, appear on my screen, then we can go for it. I just wanted to show you a macro shot with that 24mm 1.8 because I think it's quite a nice capability of it. So if you see a picture of a spoon appear, which is undoubtedly more interesting than me, then go to it. But if not, don't worry about it because things are technically not working so well here.
We still see you.
Oh, nice. It's going to take about 10 minutes to happen, so please go ahead.
He wants us to go on.
It's going to take ages. It's going to take ages.
Oh, going off on a tangent. Sorry, going off on a tangent. I would love to review the Lytro camera. So if you send it here, I'll review it.
And then no one in Hong Kong will be able to buy it.
Oh, why not?
We're US only right now.
Oh.
Unfortunately. But we'll get in touch.
Okay.
That's too bad.
A lot of people in the US watch the Digital Rev videos.
Exactly. Most of the viewers are from the US.
Well,
right,
most of my readers are from the US too, but they don't, he doesn't call, he doesn't write.
Hey, Eric, the Ricardo here is requesting, or maybe suggesting, that Lytro might want to send a load of cameras to the Google Photos team.
Send them here.
All right. I think it probably could be arranged.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. I want you to send them everywhere. You get a, you get a Elytra.
Yeah,
You get a
exactly.
Elytra.
You get a Elytra. Everybody look under your chair. And, yeah.
Was that comment made by somebody from the Google Photos team? Because it sounds very much like it was. Oh, can Lytro send loads of cameras to the Google Photos team?
No, ask the Photos team, I guess.
Yeah, that guy. He's shamelessly trying to help out the Google Photos team. I'm sure they appreciate it. All right, so we can have some parting thoughts on this camera. Keith, the newest owner of an NEX-7, what parting thoughts do you have for us?
I like it a lot. I wish the eyepiece was a little bit softer, more flexible, so it was more glasses friendly, because it's pretty stiff. And I hate the strap. But other than that, the camera's great. So I have no complaints about it.
Well, Keith, we can help you with the strap. Can you show me the strap?
Ah, yes.
We'll help you with that one. I'll help you with that one.
Thank you.
How do people get these straps?
Well, those are going to be going out on photo walks, and then we're going to be sending them out to a few for different photo walks when we can get in touch with the person that's organizing them.
Okay, so
Brian Rose has them.
what's the process? If you organize a photo walk in your city, and does it have to be a certain size?
Actually, I don't know, and I shouldn't really say things that I don't know.
You're getting people in trouble,
I
Ricardo.
am. But
Okay.
we have a few, and I think that, if you talk to Brian Rose, you might be able to get some traction on that.
Yeah, Brian's the gatekeeper of those things. Kai, give us your parting thoughts on the NEX-7.
Well, I mean, I totally agree with you about writing these real-world reviews. I mean, sometimes people like say, "Oh, look at 100% crops. It's brilliant." But at the end of the day, it matters about how it works in real use. And well, mirrorless cameras, I think they're like low-fat cakes, low-calorie cakes. DSLRs are full-fat cakes, and the kind of mirrorless cameras, they don't give you the complete experience, the complete kind of autofocus speed that the DSLR offers. But I think that Sony is quite close to being the perfect low-calorie cake. It's got good autofocus speed, although sometimes it does focus on the background a bit too often. When you kind of let it pick the focus point, sometimes it thinks that the background is more interesting than the foreground. But otherwise, I think it's great. I think the only problem I have with it is the proximity sensor on the eyepiece. Sometimes when I'm doing street shooting and you pull up to your eye, it doesn't change quick enough, and then the shot is gone. But I think that's the only main gripe I have with it.
Cool. Okay. Eric, what are your parting thoughts on this camera?
Well, the NEX-7 has become my day-to-day kind of carry-around camera. I always have this camera with me. It's in a smaller bag that's in my backpack. And it's great. It's the first camera that I've been able to take with me that I'm pretty happy with that is roughly portable. But I will say that whenever I work as a photographer, I use SLRs, and it's very rare for me to use this camera. And I'll give an example. On this last Northern Lights shoot, it was really cold. It was -20 Fahrenheit, and this camera lasted like 5 minutes, and my 5D Mark II lasted 600 shots, and multi-hour time-lapse in the same environment. And also because there's no optical viewfinder, every time I used the camera, I was blinded, instantly blinded, even through the EDF. Black is not black. Black is actually quite bright if you're out at night. So there are some drawbacks that make it hard to use for certain kinds of shoots. But I love the camera, and it's sort of my default camera these days.
Oh, good. That was very well said. I didn't think about some of those things. It's interesting. Okay, well, Gordon, we can see your photo now. You want to talk us through it?
Yeah, can you see this big spoon in the middle? It's actually a really little spoon. This is a display in a really good cafe in Queenstown called Voodoo Cafe. If you want a decent coffee, that's the place to go. And I tried this camera out with the Zeiss 24mm just to see the closest focusing, and it kept focusing closer and closer and closer, so I opened up the aperture, and this is just a quick handheld shot. But I was really impressed with the kind of versatility of this lens. I quite like this picture. But I completely agree with what Eric just said there about low light stuff, and this is a problem with all electronic viewfinder systems. I mean, I do a lot of astrophotography, and for that I would never go away from a DSLR because you know destruction of night vision and all that sort of stuff, they're big issues. Low battery life, all that kind of thing. But for general use, I think a lot of people who are buying, I've said this for a while, but I think a lot of people who think they need a DSLR would actually be better served by a mirrorless ILC or CSC. I think they'd be better off, a lot of people, with those sort of cameras. It's more generally kind of specialists or people who have a very, very specific idea about what they want that might go for something else. So I like it. I think it's a great camera. Just more lenses, please.
Well, cool. We'll wrap it up now, and thank you guys very much for coming. It was great. And also, some of the other news is that Kai Wong has really just gotten on Google Plus today for this hangout. So
Yes.
So thank you, guys. Everyone should go circle Kai. He's entertaining. He's a good guy. He's a fun part of the community. And anyway, let's get him on Google Plus to have some fun with us. All right.
The Google Plus is Kai Man Wong.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that plug.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and you can always subscribe to the podcast for free, and subscribe on Stuck in Customs YouTube channel for free. I appreciate it very much. Tell your friends, and as soon as we get done with this one, we'll start planning next week's show every Monday night at 7 p.m. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Thanks for all the stuff in the chat room and the comments. We read everything. We read all the feedback, and we're trying to make it interesting and fun for everybody. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. All right, so now we can all just kind of wave goodbye from our little Brady Bunch boxes. Bye. Thanks, everybody. And scene. Cool. All right, thanks, Tony, for everything.
Sure. I have a question for Kai.
Yeah.
I ordered my shirt. When is it coming?
See, I don't deal with the shop stuff. I'm not related to the shop. I just make videos. I just make content.
Okay.
I'll ask them for you.
Thank you.
I'll try and find that out for you. When did you order?
The day it was available.
Oh,
so.
Bloody hell. Somebody's stolen it because it's just so popular.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, we're still live on the air, even though when I said cut, that's where the podcast will end. So.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Luckily, I didn't swear.
Oh.
That's all right. So we've had a couple blue shows.
Yeah.
That's free shirts for everybody.
Yeah, you get a Lytro if we get shirts.
Well, that means we can,
That sounds like a fair trade.
we can fit in some more plugs quickly. I've got a fridge for sale. Does anybody want to buy a fridge?
Hey, Eric, what are you doing in Milan anyway? Are you just shoe shopping on the Monte Napoleon?
Yeah, I needed some darker jeans, and this seemed like a good place for it.
Yeah, put on your painted-on jeans.
Oh, there's a huge design expo here. I think it's the biggest one in the world. It's called the Salone di Mobile, and it's they invited us to come. So I'm going to present to the Italian press tomorrow in some kind of press conference.
Whoa!
And then I have to man a booth for 2 days alone, which will be exciting. So if you happen to be in Milan, come say hi.
All right. So you're manning the booth, and you're the booth babe.
Yeah, apparently I might need to. That's why I need to go shopping. Yeah.
Oh,
This should be
cool.
fun.
Are you going to get to do some shooting while you're in Milan?
I hope so. I think the show is only open to the public in the morning and the very late evening, which leaves the whole afternoon to explore. But seeing as it's 5:15 in the morning and I have to meet them in like 3 hours, I may come back and sleep.
Cool. Hey, Gordon, we're going to be hanging out in San Francisco like tomorrow or the next day or what?
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking forward to it. So anyone else in San Francisco, look out because we're around town. So if you see any really geeky-looking guys with cameras, just stay away. Do not engage with them.
So, Kai, you live in Hong Kong full time, right?
Yes, full time. It's I've been here for 7 years, 6 years now. So
Yeah.
used to live in the UK. It's quite a big difference here.
What's
So how many
next?
people in this hangout were born in the UK?
Sorry? Oh, yeah.
You were Dave?
Yes.
You were born in the UK? I didn't know that.
But I'm a Dutch citizen.
Wow. That's a good blend there.
Not really.
Hey, Trey, English and anything is a good combination.
Oh, okay. Well, Kai, what's next? How's Digital Rev doing? What's going on there?
Oh, it's doing really quite well. I mean, we're the most subscribed photography channel on YouTube now, which is don't want to brag about it, but we're number one. So we just want to take it from there. I mean, we want to keep producing. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it's the Top Gear photography channels," and we're kind of doing that. It's kind of infotainment kind of channel. Of course, there's other places to go for kind of more detailed reviews, and of course, Gordon does a very good job of that. We're kind of not quite as specky, and we can kind of concentrate a lot on the entertainment aspect of the video as well. So that's what we're going to keep
That's
doing.
why you're more successful, Kai. They're more fun. They're better.
Yeah, well, we always get those comments like, "Oh, this is not a proper review. You're just messing about. Oh, you didn't talk about the noise."
Well, on mine, I get people slagging me off all the time because I'm not as much fun as you guys. They say, "Why don't you have more fun? You're too staged. Have more fun. Be like Kai."
That's the internet. That's the internet. It's just these 14-year-old kids going, "Oh, you're not doing it very well. You're not professional. I'm in high school, but you're not very professional." And it's because they're anonymous. You can't see who they are. If they came up to you, they would say it. So that's it. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job of it. And we'll do what we'll do as well.
Cool. Deal.
Keep messing about.
That's the answer.
Cool, guys. Well, I gotta bug out, but thank you guys again very much. This was fun, and we'll do it again soon. All right?
Hey Trey, before you go,
Yes, sir.
I took a couple super low light Lytro shots while we were talking. And I shared one out. Here's you. On the on the computer, and it's really dark. These are ISO 3200.
Spy shot.
And then there's a camera in the background. Wow, magic.
I would love to test the low light capabilities of it as well.
No, I can already tell you what will happen, but I won't do it on air.
Yeah, Eric, you got to get him a camera. That was the best point ever from my producer Dave Veffer. He said that their biggest audience is in the U.S. It's a good point.
Please get in touch with me, eric@lytro.com. Send me an email.
Okay.
Not everyone else who's watching this.
Everybody knows your address now.
Yeah, it's ERYCKE. Eric.
Now some 12-year-old kids are going to sign you up to some porn sites now.
Yeah, don't send me any pictures if you're under 18.
Kai, I'll forward you Eric's information.
Okay. Cheers.
Cool. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to
For
see
real.
you, everyone.
Thanks, Tony.